What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. Now, this news is breaking pretty late on a Friday evening, and I cannot even say that I'm surprised because I knew in my heart of hearts and in my spirit that this was not going to be drug out through the courts, okay? But the news is breaking that the lawsuit has been settled and the terms have been undisclosed, okay? Between Cassie and Sean Love Combs. So Page 6 is reporting that Cassie and Sean Diddy Combs have reached a settlement a mere 24 hours after the R&B singer filed a lawsuit against him, accusing the hip-hop mogul of RAPE and years of abuse. Both parties made the announcement on Friday evening via separate statements obtained by Page 6. Cassie says, "I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. And I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support." And in his statement, he says, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love." You know, listen, I'm not surprised that the case settled because, one, this lawsuit, which I'm going to put a link in the description box because I've read through the majority of it, but it really is intense. It's 35 pages. I was a legal assistant before, and listen, lawsuits that are that many pages, just the complaint alone, and that's not including attachments, exhibits, evidence, just the complaint alone is 35 pages long. You have to know that there was, I wouldn't say an investigation in terms of criminal, but there were, in my personal opinion, but just based on my past experience, there were things that Cassie had as proof as to why they could be so explicit in the details of the complaint. There's nothing vague. It's extremely explanatory. It goes into explicit details, and explicit, I mean explicit, you know? But she accused him of many, many things, and they disclosed no details about the terms of the settlement, but resolving the matter means that he escapes a possible trial and Cassie avoids a potential cross-examination by his attorneys. In the lawsuit that Cassie filed against him, she accused him of raping her, physically abusing her, forcing her to have sex with male prostitutes as he watched and pleasured himself, and introducing her to alcohol and drugs. And in a response to her suit, his attorney vehemently denied the, quote, offensive and outrageous allegations. So, you know, the fact that this settled 24 hours or less than, we should say, 24 hours after the lawsuit was filed, you have to know that there was some truth. I don't care how much some people try to worship the ground that this man walks on, or people try to put so much high hopes and beliefs in celebrity, or like some people like to say, don't believe the hype or believe half of what you see and none of what you read. I feel like a lot of people who go by that have things to hide, and they don't really want people to believe things that come out about them. Of course, we know that not everything that comes out about everyone is true, but this was just too believable, and it was way too explicit. And when the news broke about the lawsuit, and the response was that this was an attempt to get money out of him, and she was threatening to write a book, and if she did not give him like some certain amount of money, then she was going to press forward with the lawsuit. So they were making it seem like he knew that this was coming because he wasn't going to allow her to technically extort him. But extortion is against the law. So if she was trying to extort him, then why didn't he file a complaint against her? Criminal, because extortion is, you can sue someone, I guess, civilly for extortion, but extortion actually is a criminal offense. So if she was trying to extort him, then why didn't he press charges against her? Now, some people may say, well, why didn't she press charges against him? I'm not going to go into all of the ins and outs and the whys and the hows and the whos and the whens and the whats when it comes to stuff like that, because the fact of the matter is, I don't care how anyone tries to spin it and to make it seem as if men are as much victims of domestic violence as women are. We know, if people are honest, we know that for the most part, that's not true, because men are mainly the ones that are in rule and are in power. And when you have this sense of power, a lot of them take advantage of that. It is very rare for a woman to be able to extort power over a male. And more times than not, when that situation happens, when it is a female that has some abusive situation over a male, it's usually a woman and a male child, usually. And it's very sad. But if you go deeper into it, not to give an excuse, but an explanation for the behavior, if you go deep into that woman that has done something to a young male, they often had been abused by someone when they were younger. And more likely than not, it was a male. So I'm just saying, unfortunately, people can try to make it seem like, oh, well, women, they want equal rights and all of this other stuff. But it's still mainly a patriarchal society. And more often than not, you have men who are in positions of power that take advantage of women. And listen, I can't give excuses as to why some women would choose to be in a dominant situation just to live a certain type of lifestyle, because I'm not going to sit here and act like Cassie didn't go into being in a quote unquote relationship with him because it was beneficial for her and the lifestyle that she was able to lead. But we know that he did not lead her into it, battering and bruising her. It's usually starting off by love bombing and making that person feel like they're really loved. So in a lot of abusive situations, again, I'm no clinical therapist or psychologist or psychiatrist or things like that, but I just know what I know. But usually in situations like that, you will have a woman with a man who was good to them for points of the relationship. And as much as that man has battered and bruised her, they somehow just try so hard to focus on the good things about the person that they think are good, which is really just a cover up. So the love bombing, giving all the gifts, saying, I love you, you're my one and only. And usually you're not. It really is. It just goes deep. And so I just wanted to just touch on that a little bit, because I really find it sad when I hear people making comments like, well, why did she stay? Well, if it was going on for that long, why did she stay in it? She knew what she was doing and all of, just things like that. And I can't give excuses for it, but what I can try to do is explain, because unfortunately, when a lot of women are in abusive relationships, most of them don't get out immediately, and it does take several attempts. And she said in her complaint that she did make several attempts to leave. Okay. But I don't know if you all remember, I believe it was either right before Kim Porter passed away that Cassie left him again. And then when she died, he used her death, Kim Porter's death, as making it about him, and that he just really needed Cassie by his side. And I believe she came back for a brief period of time just to be there, and then she left again. So she's made several attempts to try to leave. Again, I'm not making any excuses for her being there, but I'm just basically saying that it seems like it's pretty hard. So I just hate when I hear people just so matter of factly say, well, she stayed and she knew what she was getting into and she was living the life and she was living the lifestyle, living it up and whatever. But it's like, well, it goes much deeper than that. And she's going to be dealing with this for the rest of her life, You know, I have PTSD myself from being in a car accident a couple of years ago. And I can't imagine being in a situation where I was physically and sexually abused over and over and over again, what that does to the mind, what that does to the psyche, what that does to your spirit. Okay. So it's noted that she dated him from 2005 to 2018. And they're saying that she said she never went to the police prior to her filing because she feared it would merely give him another excuse to hurt her. And she claimed he controlled almost every aspect of her life, paying for her homes, car, clothes, and other necessities. And she even alleged that he had access to her personal medical records. But listen, the reason I wanted to talk about this is not just to report the news that the case had been settled. I don't believe that this is the end for him. Now, do I know if it's going to get to a criminal place? I'm not sure. I'm actually going to be having a conversation on my channel here on Tuesday with NYC lawyer Dimitri, and I'm looking forward to having that conversation because, yes, the civil lawsuit has been settled, but we're going to just, go into some of this and talk about, what may be next for him when it comes to possible criminal charges, because just because she's settled this civil lawsuit, it doesn't mean that a criminal investigation isn't going on or can't go on. So, listen, I believe that the fallout, honestly, this was like the domino that's going to cause the domino effect for other dominoes to begin falling in his life. And some may feel like it's honestly well overdue. And some people may feel like too little too late because he is 57, but he's not 97. I believe that there is more to come that he is going to lose. It was reported that Naomi Campbell and Janet Jackson have removed pictures of him from their social media accounts. But, that may not be a big deal. But I believe that there could be other brand situations in terms of business for him that could be dismissed. Because just because this lawsuit has been settled doesn't mean that all is forgotten and forgiven. And why would he settle? Less than 24 hours? Why would he settle so quickly if he vehemently denied these outrageous allegations, right? Like, why settle now? Because it was already too much that was out there. And listen, just because she settled this lawsuit, well, listen, I don't know the terms of the settlement agreement, so I'm not going to say that. But if there's nothing in the settlement agreement that says that this settlement prevents you from writing any books or doing any interviews or documentaries or selling your rights to a movie of some sort or whatever, unless there's something in the settlement agreement about that, which it probably is. But if it isn't, that doesn't stop her from writing a book and telling her story because it's her story to tell. Because when this news broke and they responded, meaning his attorneys on his behalf, they were saying that she recently had reached out and was demanding money, or she was going to write a book. And he, said, no, it's a no. So why now? You know what I mean? It's like, why would you settle now when you could have just kept it moving before? And I can't wait to see what else is going to transpire, because you know that he sued the alcohol and spirits brand Diageo that he had a brand ambassador deal with, pretty much, which a lot of people feel like he is the owner of Ciroc, and he's not. He is a glorified brand ambassador. I talked about that previously on my platform, because he sued them and they countersued him, and they revealed a lot. He's a fraud. In my personal opinion, he's a fraud. He's a monster. And I wouldn't want to have anything to do with him. And I believe that there are other businesses and brands that don't want to associate him with their brand and their companies and their businesses anymore either, even though this is not dragging out into the courts anymore, because they have agreed to settle the situation. They know that there's some level of truth to it, and they don't want to associate themselves with it anymore. I am not surprised that it's settled, but again, I didn't expect it to be so soon. But it kind of reminds me of these political things where these things happen over on a Friday, and then they're hoping that by Monday everything just fizzles out and then another story will come about. So yeah, I feel like he thought that this was just a perfect time. Let's just go ahead and just do this so I can move on. And then for him to make that sarcastic, statement of saying in his statement, "We have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love." Please, he doesn't know what love is. He is abhorrent. He is a monster. He is a narcissist. He is a liar. He is, in my personal opinion, a thief. He's proven that over the years when it comes to the clients that he's had in his musicology career. And it's just a shame that people like this get propped up on a pedestal. But we'll see what happens as the time moves along when it comes to things like Ciroc, Diageo, Revolt TV. Is Al Sharpton going to continue to associate himself with him and just, the other things? It's very, very weird out here with the things that are going on. But I truly believe everything that was alleged by Cassie in this complaint. So the fact that it settled so soon leads me to believe that he knows that is true, and he's trying to protect his brand as much as possible, even though I feel like that match is already lit and it may be a slow burn, but I think eventually it's going to burn to a crisp. So we shall see what continues to transpire from this. You guys stay tuned. Again, I'm going to be having a conversation on Tuesday with New York City lawyer Dimitri here on the Being Beautifully Honest platform. But guys, and I just really appreciate being here. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye. Myself inside all this tension.